Hi folks, welcome to this episode of Inside PTI. Hey, today we're out side dressing a little bit of corn. And you know, at the PTI farm we have various tools that we use for side dressing corn. We love the idea of side dressing corn, spoon feeding nitrogen throughout the whole season, enabling us to finish and have enough nitrogen. But we've got different tools, and today we want to talk about what we're using to side dress corn. This is our Hagie high clearance machine with a single application down the center of the row, but we've got other tools as well, and we're going to go talk about them today. So we're going to get this Hagie out of the field, and we're going to go up and look at the other tools that we're using here at the PTI farm. All right, this is our Nutrimax toolbar from Unverwerth, and this is a very popular type bar that a lot of growers are using to side dress. So there's a couple different ways we can do it with this bar. Let's talk about the first one, and that's a knife application. So we've got a coulter, it's got a spring on it that gives it downforce, cuts a slit for us, and then behind the coulter we've actually got a knife that does the application of the UAN nitrogen for us. Now, the advantage of this type of a system is the knife gets the product down into the bottom of the slot, and then we just need to close it on the backside, collapse it if you will. But that knife application is pretty popular. Some of the drawbacks of it would be if you don't close it properly, you don't collapse it, that product can be sitting in the bottom of the slot at risk for volatilization. The other thing I think is a disadvantage with this, a lot of times if it turns off dry, we get dry weather after we apply with this type of a system, you'll see the slot open up later on in the growing season, which could be a problem too. Some root activity coming into that slot could see sunlight and they're going to virtually stop growing. But if you're going to use this type of a system, it's crucial to run your sealers in the back, some type of a sealer to collapse that slot and get it protected, and then it can do a very nice job for us. Now, this Nutrimax bar also has another way to apply nitrogen additionally, and this is going to be a dual precision placement. And this is going to be very similar to like a Y drop. I think a lot of growers are familiar with that. This application is very similar. We're going to run at the base of the corn plant, applying at some pretty high speeds. It does a great job with precision placement, applying that product at the base of the plant. What does that mean? Quick access. Quick access to that nitrogen to utilize that very, very quickly. What are the disadvantages with this system? It's simply dribbling product on top of the ground. Okay, so now we're talking about volatilization again, that ability of that product to start gassing off into ammonia. So the thing I like about this system is you can have the best of both worlds. You can run the dual delivery at the base of the corn plant, but you can also run the knife down the center of the row as well. And that's one of the things we do here at the PTI farm. We're evaluating these individually, and then we evaluate them together in tandem. But some pretty good versatility here depending on the size of the crop, and done a nice job for us. All right, this is our Hagie high clearance rig with a nitrogen toolbar. You saw me applying nitrogen with this rig at the start of the episode. And if you remember the size of that corn, it was pretty tall. It's one of the advantages of this system. You can get in. That's why they call it a high clearance rig. You can get into some pretty tall corn. Now, how is it applying nitrogen though? This is a standard unit that has a coulter up front, like we just talked about on the last rig, spring to keep it in the ground. But behind the coulter, we're going to have a high pressure spray nozzle. Okay, and that's where it's going to apply that nitrogen, the bottom of the slot that the coulter created. Now, advantages with this system, you don't have that knife cutting that slot and having the risk of it opening up like we talked about with dry weather. You can go high speed with this. It doesn't pull very hard. Probably the biggest disadvantage with this unit is you've got to get it covered up. You've got to close the slot, keep it protected. And we just don't want to have this gas off on us and volatilize. So we run nitrogen sealers on this unit. Matter of fact, we're running nitrogen sealers just about on most of our rig, just because it does such a nice job of throwing soil, rolling that soil on top of that spray application of nitrogen in this case, and protecting it. So this has been a very good system. But again, the biggest advantage with this is just high clearance, getting it in late. With our nitrogen programs that we run, we'll run a weed and feed with, a nitrogen with our herbicide. We put nitrogen on the planter, and then we finish with this. That's how we set this program up. And so since I've already got a weed and feed and nitrogen on the planter, I can go late with this one and it tends to be a really well-rounded program for us. All right, the last toolbar I want to show you guys is a relatively new piece of technology. It's called InPlace, and this is manufactured by Nitrogen Sealing Systems here in Illinois. And we brought this in because we're doing some of that precision placement of dribbling 32% UAN on top of the ground near the base of the plant, like we talked about with the unreversed Nutrimax. Now, this unit does placement similar. It has these precision feelers, if you will, to apply product at the base of the plant, kind of like a wide drop, okay, that dual delivery. But here's the unique thing about InPlace. These coulters will just lift a little bit of soil up to cover that dribble dual placement application. And so that's the problem with dribbling. You're leaving it exposed on top of the ground. It can volatilize off, gassing off into that ammonia form. This creates just a little bit of soil rolling on top of that nitrogen and will really help protect it. So you get the benefit of that placement being very, very close to the base of the plant, easy access, quick access, but you get protection from that volatilization as well. So this is a new unit that we're running out into the field. It's been around for a couple years. We've got it here at the PTI farm for the first time. We've run it as a prototype a couple years ago, but we've got it out here and we're comparing it to all the other ways that we're applying nitrogen. So this is the InPlace nitrogen toolbar. So let's talk about some yield data. We've been using these types of application tools here at the PTI farm, and really there hasn't been a big spread in yield. However, where we've applied nitrogen into the soil, we've seen our best results. But there's less than a 4 bushel spread in yield between all the types of application that we've talked about here today. We really don't have a whole lot of data on InPlace here at PTI. It's a relatively new unit, so we'll bring that in this fall and we'll bring the results to you at that time. So today's Inside PTI agronomy tip of the day is, we know nitrogen is a major nutrient. We have to have it for ultimate yield. We have to. So applying that product is going to be so important. There's lots of tools to make that application of nitrogen. All of them have their advantages and disadvantages. We just need to think about it, do the best job that we can, and really think about how do we finish the nitrogen application for the crop? How do we finish it to ensure we've got enough nitrogen to get us through the remainder of the season? If you've got any questions about what we've talked about today, reach out to any Precision Planting Premier dealer or send us an email at InsidePTI@precisionplanting.com. That's all the time we have for today. We will see you on the next episode of Inside PTI. Thanks for watching.